Good morning, good afternoon, or good night, and welcome to Command Power, the show in which we discuss all things Magic the Gathering with a focus on Commander. And today we have another episode in our Spoiler Spotlight series in which I talk about, well, spoilers and tell you what my thoughts are on them. But before that, just a quick reminder to click subscribe if you enjoy my videos. We're well on our way to 1 million subscribers and your support means everything to me. And today we're going to be talking about Shilgengar, Sire of Famine. For 3 colorless and 2 black, it's a legendary creature, Elder Demon, 6/6 with flying. Sacrifice another creature, create a blood token. If you sacrifice an angel this way, create a number of blood tokens equal to its toughness instead. And triple black-white hybrid, sacrifice 6 blood tokens, return each creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter on it. Those creatures are vampires in addition to their other types. So there's a lot going on in this card and a lot of it seems very good to me. The first thing is that it's a demon that wants you to be playing Angel Tribal possibly. And that's a very interesting design in and of itself. You of course don't have to go Angel Tribal. You can also just build a bunch of blood token synergies. And I think it's nice that they're giving us a strong payoff for blood since that mechanic is underutilized. But yeah, one of the cool ways to build it would be to slam a bunch of angels in the deck, sacrifice those angels to get them into the graveyard, and then just whenever you need to, you have a mass reanimate spell on your commander, which is incredibly powerful. It doesn't only reanimate angels, it reanimates anything in your graveyard. It also doesn't do it at sorcery speed. So you could just reanimate your entire graveyard in response to graveyard hate or at the end of somebody else's turn so that you can essentially have haste with the creatures you reanimate. All of that seems very powerful. I also really like another aspect of the design, which is that it wants you to play blood tokens, and blood tokens are very conducive to you filtering cards into your graveyard, which you can then reanimate. So it's a very clever little design there, and it just makes for a commander that's really interesting to build around. Orzhov, of course, does have a lot of graveyard synergies to start off with, but it doesn't have that much in the way of blood synergies. So it's nice that we have a payoff card for blood that doesn't necessarily involve red, which is one of the main blood colors. Now this is still going to be much better if you're playing angels, obviously, because it's just so much easier to do then. You don't have to fill your deck up with bad blood cards. If you just have your commander, which can get you a bunch of angels into the graveyard that are going to make a ton of blood tokens. There is also a more boring way to build this, of course, which is just as a regular aristocrat strategy, since your commander does have a free sacrifice outlet on it, which is obviously very nice, and having a mass reanimation spell in your aristocrats deck from the command zone does seem very good as well. I do think that that's a little bit boring compared to all the possibilities that this has to build around, but it might end up being the strongest way to build the deck, seeing as black, white, or aristocrats colors to start off with. There are a few cards that also synergize with this. Some people have mentioned using Solemnity because it's going to stop counters from being put on your creatures, which means that the finality counters are not going to get put on them, and that means that you can kind of loop this endlessly if you're playing a deck with angels, because you just sacrifice whatever you reanimate and you just get all the triggers over and over. It's very easy to go infinite once you have Solemnity in the deck. That does seem quite a good way to finish the game. It's a card that doesn't do much on its own, but since it has such good synergy with your commander, I think you can afford to run it in the deck, even though it might not do that much else. Other effects that you might want are ways to blink the creatures so that you can get rid of the finality counters. Restoration Angel seems good in the deck as long as you're running a bunch of non-angel creatures, because it can't target an angel itself. Another card that's obviously going to be very good in the deck is Angel of Serenity, because it's going to exile 3 things either from your graveyard or from play, which means of course that you avoid the finality counter issues again, although that one might be a little bit less good. That being said, you're still going to run it in the deck just because it can hit 3 of your opponent's creatures if you needed to as well. Something like Lae'zel's Acrobatics or Semester's End are good cards that you would probably be okay running anyway, which work very well with the finality counters, so those are definitely in contention to be put into the deck. But even without any of those, even with the finality counters exiling the creatures when they die, this is still a really powerful effect on a commander. You've got a sacrifice outlet for free, you've got a payoff that can also let you fill your graveyard, and you've got a mass reanimation spell that's very easy to achieve, all stapled onto a 6/6 flyer for 5. That seems pretty good to me, and I'd be surprised if this doesn't end up being a really strong commander in the format. So there you have it. Those have been my thoughts on this new spoiler. What do you think though? Do you disagree with me, or do you think I got it right? Let me know in the comment section below. I always make sure to read all of your comments. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to click like or subscribe. It really helps the channel, and until next time, take care.